Going on, guys? Mini Call here, coming at you with another video. This one is going to be in regards, basically my second playthrough with the Axemen or the Astonishing Xmen. So you will notice here I am on the main account here on Khaleesi. So I've been kind of working on the Axemen, just building them up. Right now they are sitting, I think, right around 256k. I might actually be a little bit higher because I did just put some training mats into Bishop over here. But so looking at the team so far, Bishop, Iceman, and Beast are at gear tier 12. And then Jubilee is at gear tier 11, just shy of gear tier 12. And Kitty Pryde, who is just the last one I happen to be working on, is at gear tier level 8. Again, going over their ISOs that I've kind of chosen. So I've got Jubilee as my striker, Bishop as a raider, as a skirmisher rather, Iceman as a raider, and then Kitty Pryde and Beast as healers. Now, just kind of the logic, I guess, behind this and why I ended up going with a skirmisher for Bishop is just that he is getting... basically with his taunt, if he is getting attacked, he will basically counterattack. And every time he does counterattack, he is causing the vulnerables. And the cool thing about that is, he doesn't apply vulnerables if he does the counterattack. Almost 95% sure on that. But the cooler thing is if he is getting counterattacked, he is counterattacking when someone has vulnerable, his counterattack or retaliation kind of strike is going to actually remove a buff. So with him being kind of taunting and, all that stuff, he is more likely to get attacked. So having him as a skirmisher, he actually becomes a buff remover, which I think is really cool. Raider for Iceman is kind of self-exclamatory. All of his moves basically are AoE except for his special and his essential bonus attack. The little thing he has a chance to do, or if the enemy is slowed, he has a 100% chance to do. If that crits, he actually has the possibility of causing a vulnerable, which I think is really cool. So the Axemen are actually at 258, and that was from leveling up Bishop a little bit. This is kind of the way I'm running them. I haven't really played around too much with team placement, or if it really matters that much for this team. With Bishop taunting, I don't want him kind of directly in the middle, just because of splash damage and whatnot. But anyway, so we're kind of going to go into this. The last time I played through with them, they managed to get to a boss node in Ultima 7.2, and they weren't able to do the boss node, and I think a lot of that was because the team wasn't very built up at the time. So we're going to kind of go in and see how they do with them being a little bit more built up. I have already put in some T4s into this team as well, so really just kind of curious to see how they perform, if they're able to do a boss node at this point. But anyway, so let's get into it. I've got the slows all on the field, which is really cool. So now anytime any of the enemies go, they are going to get a vulnerable, or a chance to a vulnerable with... Iceman over here. Let's see. So I'm curious. Let's go ahead and pop this on Venom. I'll be curious too. I want to see how the ability with Jubilee, when she actually kills an enemy, how it spreads the debuffs to other characters. So my plan here is to probably either kill Venom or Punisher, and we'll kind of see what happens there. So far, the last time I played through with this team, they did a really good job in handling the non-boss nodes, rather. They had a little bit of an issue with boss nodes, but it wasn't anything all that crazy. Again, I think it was just more kind of a power issue. So, alright, so if we kill Venom over here, it should spread 3 negative effects from the primary target to everyone else. So I'm hoping... it doesn't spread stun, so it should spread the blinds, the slows, and I think these are offense downs. Yeah, so let's see what that happens, see if that works. Boom. All right, so now everyone is blinded, which is actually a really cool mechanic. I can certainly see why this team is kind of being billed as the premier raid team, especially for the Doom raids that are, forthcoming. I know the Doom raids are already out, but for alliances that are only in Ultima 7.2, for example, obviously you guys aren't anywhere close to the Doom raids. So, definitely some more work is kind of needed on that. At this point, I'm going to kind of go in and I'm just going to do some basics and just basically keep all of my kind of good abilities. So I will be ready to go on turn 1 for the next node. And we'll just go through. We'll see how far the Xmen can take us. And that'll basically kind of determine how long this video is going to be. I have been buying some additional raid credits for Ultima 7.2. It's a combination of things. One, I'm always kind of looking to progress myself personally. Secondly, with the lunar event going on, I am doing that just to kind of boost my spending a little bit. So we'll see how far this team goes. I'll do basically 2 core refreshes for the raid team just to kind of keep that going, and we will see where we go. I wanted to basically start this from the beginning, but I was at the point of when I woke up this morning, I was basically maxed out on energy, and you don't ever want to be maxed out on energy. That's a horrible place to be, just because if you're maxed out on energy, you're basically not earning any. So I did do 1 node kind of like off camera with my symbiotes, and plan to do basically the rest on camera. So we'll get this loaded in. We will keep it on going. I want to say these are actually the last 2 nodes that I did on the first video also. So we'll see. I think I want to say it was the Nick Fury node that they weren't able to complete. So we will see how they do this time around. Like I said, the team is definitely more built up than last time. I think last time when I did this, they were like 180k or something like that, or like 179. So they basically doubled in power, or close to it anyway. So we're going to go in. Boom, we're going to do that Jubilee mechanic again. This should actually spread all of the blinds to the rest of the team. Boom, so everyone is blinded. This team, just kind of playing through with them, they've got some amazing sustain. If you are basically timing things right, the enemy is not even going to be able to hit you. And that's a combination of anytime Kitty Pryde goes, the most damaged enemy is going to get an evade. And then anytime this team is attacked and they either evade or dodge. So they'll basically dodge if an enemy is blind, and also evade essentially. They're going to get a heal going. So lots of heals kind of going around, which is really kind of cool. And then when they're not kind of getting those passive heals, you have the combination of Beast's special is going to heal, and then with Kitty Pryde and Beast as healers, there's also going to be a heal every time one of those characters goes. So really some really good heals kind of all around. You can kind of see even if someone is getting attacked, they heal up super quick, and it's definitely really kind of cool. I've been enjoying playing them. They are a fun team to play, especially if you are kind of timing things correctly. Again, I'm going to get to the point now. So we've got 5 enemies. We're getting ready to go into a boss node. So I'm going to save all of my big attacks for that boss node. But, so just kind of going back on it, they are really fun to play. I've been using them a little bit in Blitz, and they are doing really well in Blitz, where they're able to kind of, sim blitz a lot of teams. And then I've also taken them into war a little bit, and I've done a couple punch-ups on the Asgardians, which I know there are a lot of, Asgardian counter teams at this point, but, it's nice just to have another Asgardian counter. And so that's kind of really pretty cool. So yeah, so far the team is doing just as well as they were the last time, if not a little bit better. We are now getting to the kind of big test where we will see how they do with a boss node. And, if they do well on this boss node, we will keep this video going. Like I said, I can do 2 recharges for raid energy. So, we've got a potential, I think we're at 20 energy is what this fight was. So we've got potentially another 3 fights if they do well. If not, we will kind of cut the video off and I'll kind of, more or less go over what I kind of think happened, why the team wasn't able to do the node, etc. So I'm looking at this node. This node is looking familiar as the one that I had the problem with, and I want to say the big issue was I was not able to get through the shield security, I think is what happened. So let's see what they do this time, see how they do. Another cool thing about this team is on enemy kills, I believe it's Jubilee's passive Mall Rat that is causing the speed ups, but I would honestly have to look into that. Which is, I think, why they do so well against Asgardians. If you basically kill Greg, it gives the team a nice little speed boost and kind of gets them going. Let me see, actually. So we've got that. Yeah, so on enemy death, you fill the speed bar by 25%. So they do really well against the Asgardians for that reason. Also, if there are any minions on the field, like summoned minions, it's a good idea to take them out just to give your team a bit of speed. And really just kind of get them going. So you notice there, I killed that shield security, and I was able to spread all the blinds over. So we now basically have a turn of like free no hits, which is really cool. Obviously, the exception to that is going to be Deadpool, who will cleanse. But he is slowed, so let's go ahead and crit him and apply a stun. And then the other kind of really cool thing about this team is that they are constantly like assisting each other. Like almost, I think every turn there's an assist from someone, which is just really cool. And not that they're attacking all that much, but when you'll notice, like when they do attack, if Bishop does have his taunt up, and, say hypothetically, any of them are buffed, when he gets attacked, his retaliation is actually going to strip away a buff when he is at ISO 8 level 3 for a skirmisher, which I'm actually not 100% sure if I've done that yet. He might not be level 3, but, so that is kind of something he is capable of doing. I'd actually honestly have to go in there and look and see kind of where I have him at as far as his ISO 8 level. Anyway, we are doing much better on this boss node. I'm pretty sure this is the node that I wiped on with them the last time, and they've certainly gotten a lot stronger as far as power, so they are not getting like stuck behind a character. And I think last time they got stuck behind that shield security, and they just weren't able to knock him down. So yeah, this team is doing phenomenally. Kind of meeting expectations as far as kind of what they were kind of billed at by Scopely, and even from the community, I would say, they are meeting expectations, if not even exceeding them to some level. They're just kind of a really cool team to play. It honestly seems like, for the most part, every new team that is coming out is they've been a lot funner to play than I would say some of the older legacy teams, where the entire team is kind of bringing some kind of unique mechanic. you kind of look at old school teams and, there might be like one cool character or two cool characters, but for the most part, the rest of the team is just kind of there. And, this team in particular, I feel like every member of the Astonishing X-Men teams brings something really unique to the team. It's not just kind of like a one man or one woman show. The whole team kind of works really well together. And I just think overall it's been a very fun team to play. So hopefully, they kind of continue this trend where, future teams are, maybe not just built around one character, but the whole team is actually, fun to play. Anyway, let's go ahead and finish off this fight before we time out. We certainly don't want that going on. That would be an awful use of raid energy. So let's go in and basic these guys to death and finish this team, and then we will just keep on going. We'll kind of keep the energy going and see how far we can kind of take this team through 7.2. I haven't tried autoing yet with the team, and for the time being, it doesn't really make sense to do the auto, since I do have my symbiotes, and they are able to auto all the way up to the Ultimus node. Mind you, my symbiotes are very built up on Khaleesi, so just kind of to show that real fast, my symbiotes are pushing 600k. You kind of saw them up there. There they are. So my symbiotes are 556k. So they certainly have no problems kind of autoing 7.2. So I'm not going to potentially run the Xmen to auto these nodes to basically potentially wipe when I can just have my symbiotes go in and do the full thing. I know they can get through it. Once my Xmen are maybe a little higher, that's certainly kind of, I guess, a backup team that I might potentially be using. But, kind of that old saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And my symbiotes do the job for 7.2, so I'm not really looking to replace them. The Astonishing X-Men are really kind of more for future planning, and, I think there is going to come a point where my symbiotes maybe won't be able to cut it in, say, Ultimus 7.5 the whole way, or who knows. So that's something I guess I'm potentially looking at in the future. And then obviously the Astonishing X-Men team will be needed for those Doom raids once my alliance gets to that point. So anyway, let's kind of keep this going. So we are now in the third boss quadrant, this is definitely where the Ultimus raids start to get a little bit harder. The regular nodes definitely are a little bit more challenging, and then the boss nodes for sure are much harder than the previous boss nodes. So if the team is going to run into any problems, I think it's going to be around this point. Let's see if we can finish off this Iron Man and spread those blinds to the rest of the team. Okay, so since he died on an assist and not the actual attack, the debuffs rather weren't spread, which is okay. Still kind of figuring out, I guess, where the power lies and, kind of when you want to time those type of moves. So just kind of a little poor timing on my part, but not the worst thing in the world. Certainly, obviously, not the best thing in the world either, but, just learning the team, and they weren't quite beefy enough yet to basically finish off that Iron Man with the special. And again, that just kind of comes with more playing and learning the teams a little bit more. But they're handling this node pretty quickly. So Iceman, one of the good things with him is you do want to use that special when the enemy is already slowed, because what that's going to do is that's going to cause, number one, a 100% chance for a crit, but more importantly, it's also going to stun the enemy, and that's kind of what you really are looking to do. It's a kind of great way to slow down a heavy hitter. And while that heavy hitter is kind of slowed down, you can basically kind of nuke them down a little bit. And that also gives your team kind of a chance to recover. Pretty much if the team gets a full turn, you will basically get back to full health. If it's not just from the passive healings, Beast Special is going to be going off fairly regularly. So you should be able to kind of heal yourself up pretty quickly. You did see, like, kind of at the start of this fight, I want to say it was my Kitty Pryde and my Beast got hit kind of hard, and as the match kind of went on, it's almost like it never happened. The team is basically at full health. Iceman over here has a really nice barrier going, so we're not worried about pretty much anyone dying at this point, so we're good to go. Bishop Dish there got a little bit of a hit. Again, not a big deal. Once Kitty Pryde or Beast goes, he is going to get healed up, and he did just get a heal from that dodge. So yeah, team is functioning really well. Definitely exceeding the previous test. And like I said, they've gone up about 100k in power. I did start investing some T4s into this team. So that is certainly, once you get them kind of up in power, T4s are really kind of the last step to get a team to start working. And they are certainly working very well, I would say, at this point. So let's go ahead. We're going to do a couple refreshes. Like I said, this isn't something, you have to do or anything like that. But it's kind of a combination of I am enjoying the bonus raid rewards, and then it also has the side effect of also helping my alliance in the Well Wishes campaign, or the lunar event. So I guess that's the cheerful celebration. Again, not going to get into like my thoughts on that, but that's neither here nor there. But needless to say, I've been doing the 2 refreshes on all 3 of the accounts just for raids, and I only do that in the Ultimus raid. Kind of a combination of progression as well as rewards for my 3 accounts. But anyway, that's not something that needs to be done by any means. That's certainly a personal choice. But anyway, so we'll keep going. This is the second node in the second boss quadrant. Let's see. Let's go ahead and ult a Nebula. My idea is I don't want to quite kill the Drax yet. I want the Drax to basically... I'm trying to basically spread that blinds all the way around, and I just don't want to kill Drax before I'm able to do that. Ideally, I can get the next wave to drop before Drax goes, and that way we will get kind of like a brand new set of blinds for like a new set of teams. So trying to be a little strategic here. We'll see if it works out. I don't really, since I normally auto these nodes, I don't have the timing down as far as when waves drop. So let's see. What the hell? Let's just go ahead and see if it kills Drax. Did kill the Drax, so we've got the slow and the blinds are spread all the way around. This was before, obviously, the next wave dropped. So it wasn't as effective as I would have hoped. I would have loved to have dropped that as a new wave kind of went down. But anyway, it is what it is, I guess. So still not a problem with the team. We're kind of going in. We will, again, I think we should be able to get up to the Ronin node, which is going to be the next boss node in this area. It's also I would say, kind of one of the harder bosses. It's in the middle section of Ultimus 7, which is definitely the hardest 2 lanes. So typically, kind of my general rule of thumb is if a team can get through the Ronin node, they're pretty much good to go. Obviously the Ultimus node is the hardest node, and with a lot of teams that kind of will either be a 2-node attempt or kind of like a tag team attempt, depending on who you're bringing in. So if they can actually clear the Ronin node, in my opinion, the team is kind of good to go, and if they can clear the Ultimus node on kind of their first pass, the team is basically, I wouldn't say perfect, but, they wouldn't need anything else worked on at that point, because that's really probably the hardest node. Not probably, it is the hardest node. So if they can do that node, then basically the team is good to go. I would say there's nothing else you really need to work on for the time being for that team. And, if you're in Ultimus 7.5, and they are able to clear the Ultimus 7.5 node, then really there's nothing else you can do on that team. Unless you're trying to build them up towards maybe the Doom raids. And again, I have literally no experience with those, so I am hesitant to offer advice on something I haven't actually done. I'll give opinions on stuff I've kind of gone through myself or things I think would work. But as far as like, oh, you need power level XYZ to be able to do the Doom raids, I don't know what that is. There's certainly content out there that people are trying that, so you can definitely look into that. But like I said, I'm more of a kind of I try to come up with at least my own opinions on something from my own personal experience. So once my alliance kind of starts progressing towards the Doom Raid stuff, I'll certainly offer kind of my thoughts and opinions on that as well. This node can be tricky. Combination of it's tricky for the symbiotes in particular, just because you've got this Doctor Strange over here. After this first wave, you have a Magneto, who can be very challenging for the symbiotes in particular. So this can be a harder node. This is definitely, like I said, I think, in my opinion, the second hardest node in the Ultimus 7 raids, just because of, depending on who you're bringing in, there are some really kind of like bad mechanics that the team has to watch out for. So you're looking at blinds from Magneto, you've got heal blocks from Karath and these Kree Reapers, you've got Ronin back there who does ability blocks. So this is a very like heavy debuff match, and you really do have to be careful with the debuffs on this particular node. So we were able to drop one of those summoned Kree Reapers, which is awesome. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to see if this maybe finishes off Magneto. If it does, that should spread all the blinds to everyone. And all right, so we weren't able to finish off Magneto with that attack, but we did get him down pretty low. Our Jubilee is dangerously low at this point, so we need to go ahead and get her some health going. We certainly don't want Jubilee dying, as she does really help this team a lot. We were able to get her up. We've also got some evades going now on Jubilee, so she should be okay for at least her next turn. We are going to want to work down this Juggernaut. We don't want him basically AoEing through the field, so we will try to get as much damage going on him as we can. Let's see. This should hopefully get rid of his taunt if he doesn't resist. And Juggernaut obviously has a very high resist level, so you do have to watch out for that. We'll get some AoE going. I think we might be able to get him down before he does that kind of mass plow through. We've took out an extra enemy, so that'll give us some extra speed with the Mallrat passive. We should get rid of this Kree Noble. She actually lived through that. But I'm not worried about Juggernaut anymore. We should be able to get him down before he goes. And then also that Kree Noble should be dying pretty soon, and that'll also give us a little bit of bonus speed. So we're definitely looking forward to that. All right, we got rid of that Kree Noble. That should give us a little bit more speed, and hopefully we can get rid of this Juggernaut, like I said. We're doing pretty good on time, too, I think. Let's see. This should hopefully knock him out. Got rid of his Death Proof. All right. We got rid of that. So next, let's see. Let's go after Mystique. Don't want her doing her her ultimate, and we are not trying to basically have our team get any more damage than they already are. Let's see. All right. So back in a good place. The team is kind of, fully healthed up. Beast did just get a big hit from Bishop, but it's okay. It was his turn anyway, so he's healed up also. We have those blinds on Mystique, so let's go ahead and spread those to the rest of the enemies. So we've got some nice debuffs going. Everyone is blind, so we will get some nice heals going. We will drop those slows. And let's see. Let's go ahead and get rid of the Kree Reapers. And I think in the process, we'll kind of also get rid of Ronin. Boom. Let's go ahead and heal up a bit. So yeah, aside from getting close to running out of time, we are doing really well on this node. I should be able to hopefully pop these last. I'm not sure I'll be able to finish this in the actual time. That does come down to a little bit of, I would say, power. But I mean, I would say they are still doing a great job on this node. Just a little problem of basically running out of time, which can easily be alleviated with just a little bit more power on the team. But yeah, so I would say this team is doing pretty well for Ultima 7.2. Normally I would say a 200k team would not be my first choice into 7.2, just because they would be too weak. But aside from running out of time on that last node, they did pretty well. As the day goes on, I don't know that I will have enough energy to actually do the Ultimus node. If I do get to that point, I will certainly do a video. So I would need essentially 5 more raid energy, and I'm just not sure that I would be able to get that by the end of the day. The raid ends in 5.5 hours. But yeah, I mean, I would say, let's see where I am on damage. I would say raid-wise, they are definitely performing at expectations, if not a little bit better. That's normally about the damage I have in that kind of, when I get to that quadrant. Typically, if I finish the Ultimus node, I normally end at, I think, at like 42 million damage or something like that. So doing great there. Taking a look at T4s, what I've kind of done on them so far, I am, I think, just about halfway through the T4s that I basically wanted to use for the team. And so far, Jubilee, I have done her Mallrat and her Plasmoid Party, which is basically going to be, basically that big special that she calls everyone, and you've got the chance to spread the debuffs. All that I'm left to do on her is her Firework Blast, which is actually the next on my T4 list. Next is going to be Bishop. I've only so far done his passive, and then the only other one that I am doing initially is going to be his Blast from the Past, and that's really just going to really boost his damage output. And then he will be done as far as T4s go. I honestly haven't decided. It's definitely more of a kind of a luxury T4. It's not as necessary, but this will give also a nice boost in damage. Next on the list, we have Iceman. And Iceman, really the only one that is absolutely necessary for this team is going to be the Absolute Zero. And it basically just boosts his piercing damage. And he is also going to reduce the armor as well as the damage if an enemy has slow when he attacks. Other ones that are definitely, again, more luxury items. You can do this, which will basically boost his barrier up a little bit and increase his damage. And then also, I guess, this freezing impact, you could also, if you're looking to boost the team's damage, and, again, these are kind of like all the more luxury T4s. Next on the list we have is going to be Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde, Untouchable, is definitely the one that is the most important. And then another one that is really good for her if you're looking to basically kind of cleanse or debuff the enemy. Her basic is definitely going to help you do that. That's kind of, it borders on the luxury / essential. So that's definitely one. And then last on the list, who actually does not need any T4s, is going to be Beast. His one T4 that is kind of optional and is, again, more of a legendary is going to be this one right here, and it just kind of boosts his debuff, or his cleansing rather, and it goes from 1 to 2 to always doing 2. So again, it's not a super necessary one, but it definitely helps the team. So basically, in order for me to maximize the team, if you will. I essentially have 4 more T4s I need to do on this team. The luxuries being that Shadowcat Strike, the Volatile Experiment, and actually with Jubilee, her Splitting Atoms is another one that is a luxury. But it does really kind of boost her damage. Again, it's not essential, but to boost the primary damage to 400 up from 300 is pretty cool. So that's kind of where I am with my Astonishing Xmen. Hopefully you found the second raid playthrough helpful, and kind of if you are debating whether or not you want to build up this team, hopefully this helped you make up your mind. If you did find this video helpful, please like and subscribe down below. We'll also have a link at the end of this video, and you can look forward to future Marvel Strike Force content. As always, thank you so much for watching, and hope you're having a good one. Yeah!